Morning, everybody. And I've actually switched the. We've actually gone live. I'm not talking to myself this morning. I think this time last week I was talking to myself for 20 minutes. So we're getting there bit by bit. We're going to do what we always do every single morning. We're going to start with a little bit of Bible. And this verse, do you ever get, I don't know if this happens to anybody else, but do you ever get Bible verses that just keep coming into your mind over and over and over again? And there's one that has been nailing me probably since early 2024. And what happened in early 2024 was we were doing one of the demos in Telford. And a lady who I didn't really know that well then came up to me and she said, Richard, she says, could we get on stage, get on the platform and lay hands on Tommy and pray for Tommy? And I said, look, to be honest with you, I says, today, probably not. I says, because it's mega busy. I don't think Tommy's probably quite ready for that sort of spiritual encounter. I mean, maybe I was a bit, I should have said, yeah, let's just go for it. I'm going to spoke to him, but obviously there's a lot going on at those demos. But what I said was, I said, look, I said, why don't we start doing an online prayer meeting and pray for Tommy and the movement and just the terrible state of the country and the terrible state of Christianity. And I said, the terrible state of me spiritually as well, because I was in a bit of a mess then. And we decided to start a prayer meeting, and we've been praying for all those things once a week ever since. And there's basically three of us get together and pray. There used to be a couple of others, but they've got a lot of stuff going on in their lives at the minute. So and again, what's happened is great, which is we've built a great sort of prayer meeting. Just even though there's only three people, we've prayed about a lot of really serious things about the movement, about what's happening politically. So we're praying about the situation that we've got with the dreadful anti-Semitism that's going on. I'll talk about that in a minute. But the verse that's kept coming to me, and we prayed basically for three things. We prayed for the Christianization of the movement. We prayed that Tommy would have an encounter with God, and that people in the movement would start becoming Christians. And I think all those things are happening. What we probably need to do, well, again, I'll talk about the verse that I want to go into. What we probably need to do is start praying for revival on a regular basis. And I think not just in the three people that I'm praying with, but I think, three people including me, not just people I'm praying with, but also we should start asking God for revival on the Sunday night thing that we're doing. And again, I think we could probably get more people praying from this group and have another prayer meeting that would be a much bigger prayer meeting. So that's something I'm thinking about as well. And again, I will be, when I get my act together with my websites and getting email addresses and that, who is just there in the comments again. And you're right, the Twitter thing's not working. That, bear with me. I do want to get this. I know there's no email address yet. Bear with me. If you knew how much is going on in my life, you'd give me a break. That's okay. But I am going to get to it. I am going to get to it. So, in fact, the email address on the Counter Media site, I think it's Counter Media. I need to try and get into that and have a look at that. But I've got that much stuff going on. I will get to it. But yeah, so once I get my email address sorted out, and once I do that, I want you to just go, okay, he's finally done it, in the comments. And I do apologize for it, because I know I genuinely do want to speak to you. I'm not ignoring you or anything like that. What I thought you were going to say there was last night's show was a great show. That's what I thought you were going to say. Anyway, we're going to get there. But the verse that I keep getting is seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. And I think that's very, very true. And well, it is truth, it's in the Bible, but it keeps coming back to me. And I think that's really the heart of everything that we should be doing, all of us in the movement, in our lives, in everything that we think about and everything that we do. We need to be seeking God. And I think if we do that, we'll get solutions. Because last night's a prime example. People were praying about last night for a long time. I know that. Everybody was praying. Everybody was worried that there was going to be some pretty horrendous stuff going on last night. There's a lot of very brave Jewish people went there last night with their Israeli flags and the Maccabee colours, which I thought was incredibly brave, considering the Chuckle brothers reckoned they were going to bring 300,000 people on the streets. So, a couple of things about. No, in fact, no. We'll finish off. We'll finish off with the seek first the kingdom of God stuff. The reality is, the first thing that we should be doing. This is the order of how it should go, and this is where I failed dismally. So, I'm not standing here saying, "Oh, do as I've got this all together," because I haven't got it all together. But what we need to do, we need to seek God first every single day. And again, I find when I do that, the day goes well. When I don't do it for whatever reason, the day ends up an absolute disaster. So again, that's getting up, reading your Bible, praying, really seeking fellowship with God. And this thing about seek ye first the kingdom of God, I was listening to Leonard Ravenhill, my pastor, a pastor that really mentored me many years ago, and Wesley Lindsay. He grew up spiritually. He went to Bible college in America. He went to Bible college in Scotland. In Scotland, the principal of the Faith Mission Bible College was Duncan Campbell. And if anyone knows anything about revival or revivalism, Duncan Campbell was used in the Lewis revival, early 1950s. Just an amazing story of God literally grabbing a whole community and turning it upside down and saving lots and lots of people up in the Scottish Islands there, the Isle of Lewis and Barvas and the other little islands up there, which I'd love to actually go to at some point. I'd love to just jump in the car, go across to Scotland, drive up there, get on a ferry, and just drive around those little Scottish islands and see the places where those revivals happened. I can do it in Northern Ireland as well, because there's a revival in 1859 in Northern Ireland that turned the country upside down and really shaped the future of Northern Ireland to a great extent spiritually. Obviously, we've lived on the vapors of that for the past 100 and however many years it is now, 170 years, is it? So totally lost my train of thought there. Oh yes, so basically, Leonard Ravenhill. Let's talk about Leonard Ravenhill. Leonard Ravenhill was also a man that mentored the pastor that mentored me, and he was a revivalist. And Wesley, when he was at Bible school in America, his room that he stayed in was above the room that Ravenhill prayed in. Now, Leonard Ravenhill had a very bad accident. He jumped out of a window of a building that was on fire, damaged his back very seriously. So he's in constant pain from his mid-30s right the way up until when he died. And I think he died in his 80s, and he couldn't sleep. So Ravenhill used to pray every night. And Wesley said every single night, all he heard was this man praying, just pleading with God to save people, to send revival, to that his name would be glorified. So Ravenhill, Duncan Campbell, A.W. Tozer was a pastor or a teacher at the Bible college that Wesley Lindsay was at, and Paris Reedhead, another revivalist, and you can find all these guys on YouTube, also was teaching at this Bible college. So Wesley was a very, very spiritual guy. And one of the things he said about Ravenhill was, he says with Ravenhill, it was the depth of the faith was genuine and real. There was no bluff there. He heard him praying every night, 8 hours a night. Can you imagine? He obviously didn't get much sleep when he was at Bible college. But one of the things that Ravenhill said, and this is totally feeds into this Bible verse, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. He said it's not about having an encyclopedic knowledge of the Bible, head knowledge. He said it's not about whether you prayed a prayer. It's not about really about your sins been forgiven, although all those things are massively, massively important. Ravenhill said very simply, he said, it's about, do you know Jesus? Do you know God? In other words, is God dwelling in you? Is the Holy Spirit dwelling in you? So has Christ come into your life? And again, we had the prayer meeting last night with my two friends, and Ashley, one of the gentlemen who prays with us, he said, you know what? He says, Jesus really has my heart. He says, in other words, I feel like I'm on autopilot, like Christ is driving my life. Christ is in total control of me. And Ashley just keeps saying he just loves Jesus. He just loves Jesus. And that's what it means to seek first the kingdom of God. It's God, it's knowing God, really knowing God. So that when you wake up in the morning, the first thing you do is talk to God, you pray to God, and it's not forced because Jesus is in total control of your life. And that's what the Christian life's all about. So that's why that's important. And then seek first the kingdom of God, his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. I think that counts for the country. It counts for the family. It counts for any area of our life that we're struggling in. And by the way, guys, can you all hear me okay? Just want to check this. Yeah, that's okay. Do you know what? I'm amazed you could hear me because my microphone was away over near the window. That's why I was asking if you could hear me. But yeah, guys, please like this, subscribe to it, and I am going to get on that thing with the email address. There will be an email address that you can use. I'm going to get that sorted out. I know it sounds like it's not a big thing, but when you have no idea how much chaos and stuff is going on in my life at the minute, so bear with me. I am going to get it done. I've got to redo that website. Redoing the website is probably a 2 or 3 week job, but I'll get the email address sorted for you as well. But anyway, getting back to the Bible verse. So it's about seeking God first. We seek God first. We seek the kingdom first, which is seeking God, and we seek that deep relationship with God. And that's what it's all about. It's not about living by rules and regulations. It's not about, well, it is, of course, obeying God. That's what, but you obey God as a result of knowing God. And I think for years, talking about me personally, what I did was I didn't understand that. And I think that's why God keeps giving me this Bible verse. It's almost like saying, Richard, seek first the kingdom of God. In other words, seek me first, seek Christ first, seek that knowledge of God first. And then everything else will fall into place. It might not fall into place the way that I want it to, because I think a lot of us that are doing this, that are involved in this movement, that are involved in all of this craziness, we have a lot of issues that we need to sort out. We have a lot of chaos going on in the background in our lives that people don't see. But if we seek God first, and it's very similar to what I said yesterday about people that are despairing and depressed and so on and so forth. It's all about coming to Christ first, and then everything else. And that's not about religion. I'm not trying to make people religious. I'm not saying go to church 3 times a day. I'm not saying anything like that. Having said that, I find having communion, Holy Communion, breaking bread, my church, the only criticism I've got of my church, right, and it's the only criticism, I'm sure if I looked deep enough I could find loads, because there's no perfect church, is there? But the only criticism I've got of my church is that we only have communion once a fortnight. I wish we had it once a week, right? Now, but what I'm not going to do, I'm not going to go to the church and start stamping my feet and saying, oh, we've got to have communion once a week, because it's not my place. I'm not a member of the church, as in, I'm a member as in a go, but I'm not a member as in church membership. So I've got no right to go in there and start stamping my feet and saying we should have communion every single Sunday. But I find communion, when I was coming back from that very dark place that I'd got myself into through my own stupidity, I found communion was like being on a life support machine. Breaking bread, I found there was something deeply spiritual happening. I got, I had so many close encounters with God when I was taking Holy Communion. Anyway, that's the little bit of Bible for everyone this morning. A little bit of church history, modern church history from the 20th century. Pastor Wesley Lindsay, what an amazing pastor. Duncan Campbell, Leonard Ravenhill. Look those guys. Look Duncan Campbell, Leonard Ravenhill, Paris Reedhead. Look them up on YouTube and watch some of their sermons, because absolutely incredible. Anyway, we've got some good news, haven't we? We've got some really, really good news, and it was the epic fail. And I'm going to play something here. Let me just share my screen here, guys. I'm going to play you something which I found quite funny. So let's see if I can find this. Okay, where are we? There we go. Right. So let's have a little listen to this. Guys, I tell you what, I found that absolutely hilarious. So you had the Chuckle Brothers, the Better Call Saul and his mates, right? And all the Gaza Five, and all these nutcases, all these crazy Islamists. You know, what was it they were saying? Okay, so don't bring your guns, don't bring your knives, don't bring your machetes. How many turned up? You know, one of the Chuckle Brothers, in fact, both the Chuckle Brothers. You know, these two guys, one of them was the one that said, we're not here to take part, we're here to take over because you are like our curry, right? So the two Chuckle Brothers, there was going to be 300,000. We'll have 300,000 brothers standing here to protest against these far-right thugs from Maccabee. These far-right thugs from Maccabee. 300,000 brothers will come to protest peacefully, and the police will be on our side. That's what that absolute balloon said, right? During the week. And 300 people turned up. And a couple of very few, very, very brave Jewish people came too, with their Israel flags, with their Maccabee flags. And I'm just going to say it. The Islamists, the jihadi-loving, Hamas-loving, bigoted, anti-Semitic, vile, disgusting Islamo-fascists managed to muster 300 people. And that was including the loony lefties that came. So I think we can safely say, I spoke to Tommy very briefly about this yesterday morning, and I said, mate, I says, don't be going to that. He says, don't worry. He says, I'm not going. He says, I'm staying at home with the kids. so which was absolutely the right decision, because and by the way, yes, we're going to do that this morning. Farty Pants, we are going to do that this morning. That is on the list. I mean, the turnout from the raving mad, loony, jihadi loving nutcases was very, very, and it shows you again, if we'd have made a big issue out of this and said, right, we're gonna go there with tens of thousands of people, and we're gonna do this and we're gonna do that, which none of us did. I mean, I encourage everybody to protest. If you want to protest and you've got something that you want to protest about, you've got a right to protest. And I said it last night, the Islamists, they have a right to protest. Unfortunately, I don't like it. I don't like them. You all know what I think about them, but they have a right to protest. But if we'd have made a big fuss about that and made a big song and dance about it, it would have been 100 times worse. So just ignoring them is probably the best policy. But we've got to be very vigilant. We've got to realize that they are very, very dangerous. But yes, so with their chants of Allahu Akbar, we're met with, and oh, here's the thing: the guys going into the match, they weren't coming there to protest. They were just going to the match, and they saw all the jihadi Johns and just started chanting Tommy's name. It was a great British Mick take. They took the Michael out of them, right? They just made them look very, very silly. And listen, I've done demos where we've had very poor attendance. I think the worst one I ever did, there was 6 people turned up, but but again, we didn't advertise that one, so that was just a flash demo thing. But the reality is, here's a little lesson for you, Ahmed. Right, when you're doing demos, don't tell people that 300,000. Don't tell people that 300,000 people are going to turn up, because if you don't get 300,000 people there, you look absolutely stupid. And if you do get 300,000 people there, well, then you've got a massive problem in controlling the crowd, which would be on you. So maybe you should go back to doing your Better Call Afsol thing and defending drug dealers and traffickers and all the other people that no doubt you defend on a regular basis, and maybe you should just hang out with your little chums in Telford or whatever. I don't know. Just I don't think this is for you, my friend. You're not going to take over the country, by the way. You are absolutely not going to take over the country. You think you're here to take over. You ain't taking over. And if you keep being lippy and upsetting everybody, you'll probably end up getting deported somewhere along the line. So just knock it on the head. Anyway. I was there. Oh, brilliant. I was there, prayed all the way down the train while they're all the way back on the train. Police very pleasant with us, even a bit of banter. Well, this is the other thing as well. Look, here's the thing. A lot of, and I've said this before, a lot of coppers, bobbies on the beat, there are some ones that are absolute idiots, right? And the problem is a lot of good ones are leaving. We all know that. But, it's, yeah. What happened to Danny? I don't know what happened to Danny Tomo. I don't know. He maybe was there. He was there in the morning for sure, but I don't know whether I don't know. Maybe. And again, this is the thing. The point would have been if high profile people had gone down there. One, what happens is you basically a crowd will gather around high profile people. And Danny's high profile, right? And that becomes a distraction from what's going on. I mean, Tusi's a bit different, because when Tusi goes down there, he's going down there as a journalist and as a reporter. So I don't know. What happened. I don't think Tusi got arrested. Did he? Did Tusi get arrested? I don't know. I didn't know that. I know Bob did. I didn't know Tusi got arrested. I think he got moved. I didn't think he got arrested, but Tusi was threatened. Tusi didn't get arrested. He was threatened, so he got back to his hotel. Yeah, guys, if you can get over to Counter Media, okay, get over to Counter Media and just subscribe to Counter Media. And again, guys, reference Danny Simon. I don't know what's going on with Danny. I'm going to try and get in touch with them today. But what I will say is just remember him in your prayers, guys. Yeah, just pray for Danny today. All the Christians in the channel, just pray for Danny, because he's Danny was very, very good to me when I was going through a lot of problems, and was he was very sincere, and he was sincerely coming to me and saying, "Are you okay?" So let's just remember, think about Danny, and let's say I'll have a chat with him later on today, hopefully. Thanks, Roy Sinclair. What did Roy say? Danny's fine. Brilliant. That's great stuff. That's good to know. Right. Okay. Danny is a fantastic, kind-hearted man. He really is he is one of the nicest people that I've met in this movement, without a shadow of a doubt. And look, Danny has a soft heart, but he's a tough guy. Danny, he never boasts about it, but Danny used to be a Frank Bruno sparring partner. So Danny and Danny would have been, when he was sparring with Bruno, I say he'd probably been quite a bit younger than him. So Danny can throw a punch or two, but he's not like that. He doesn't, and he's extremely successful as well. Very, very successful businessman, very humble man. So, Sheila, that is really good. Yes, keep praying for Danny. Keep praying for him. Okay, guys, right. So let's have a look at some other stuff. I thought that would cheer everybody up. Let's just play that one more time, just for Ahmed Yacoub and what's the other guy's name? I can't remember his name. The guy that wants to take over. So I just find that you can that is literally a jihadi's worst nightmare, isn't it? You know, you go there thinking you're going to intimidate people, and the police. Listen, West Midlands police. See that? See, do you know what? I've got it somewhere. Saved it somewhere. The West Midlands police trying to justify what they did last night. That is a disgrace. You see that the coppers on the front lines are okay, right? But see the ones that are running it, absolute scumbags. West Midlands Police, what they did in banning those Maccabee supporters coming, absolutely disgusting and disgraceful, and trying to insinuate that there was going to be problem from the Maccabee fans. Again, needs to be an investigation into all this. Needs to be an investigation, but that crowd that are not they weren't coming there. This is the thing that people have got to realize. Those guys there, they were coming to see the football. They didn't give two hoots about the protest that was going on. These are football lads. They're not interested. They're just laughing. They're just laughing at the jihadists. That's 200 people turning up from the jihadi side and then be met with ordinary Englishmen, not far right, not, the National Front. No, just normal Englishmen turning up and singing Tommy's name at them. It is a jihadi's worst nightmare. They were humiliated. I know, Villa won the match. Fair play to Villa, they won the match. But the biggest losers last night were Better Call Afzal, his little sidekick mate, and Ayub Khan's very quiet, isn't he? There's not too much from these guys on Twitter this morning. I bet they went for a really good curry after that, didn't you? And planned the domination of the UK. Now, that's a win for us last night. That is a win for us, right? However, that win that we've got, we need to bank that, because that's just one skirmish. We still have a massive problem with Islamic extremism in the UK, without a shadow of a doubt. It's a massive problem. The fact that hardly anybody turned up last night was maybe the fact that if you're a genuine thoughtful Islamist, you're going to go, I'm not going to go anywhere near that with those clowns, So we're nowhere near winning this. Look at how many hundreds of thousands of people have been marching to support Hamas for the past 2 years. So we haven't won this war, but the battle last night, that was a rout. That was a complete rout of the jihadi boys, the Chuckle Brothers and their organ grinder. Okay. The cage for the Jews was terrible optics for the police, was marked by absolutely. This is really important. This is really, really important. And they did it with the pink ladies up in Epping as well. Do you know what? This is where we need to get back to our strategy. And one of the things, I said to Tommy yesterday, I says, we've got the plan, unite the kingdom, unite the kingdom, advance UK and Christianity. That's the plan. That is the plan, guys. We keep doing the Unite the Kingdom rallies, get them bigger and bigger and bigger, keep that really good vibe. You see the difference between what the jihadis did yesterday, right? And what we do at the Unite the Kingdom rallies is we're not going there with hate. We don't hate Muslims. We don't hate anybody, right? We're going there saying what we want to do is bring the kingdom together. And they just don't get it because they're absolute imbeciles. They're absolute imbeciles. I'm going to play it one more time just to really, just in case any of the jihadi Johns actually managed to listen in. Oh, that was funny. That was funny. Anyway, right. So what else have we got? Let's have a little look. Well, there's one there. You know, right there. You're not being tolerant. You're not being inclusive. You're not being open-minded. You're being conquered. And I think we need to really, I mean, actually, I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to read from a story. I'm going to read from an editorial about what happened in Germany. And headline is Germany bans one Muslim group and raids two others. So this is what's happening in Germany. And these aren't what Germany do. This is not a terrorist group that the German government's going after. And I think the British government could learn from this. This is what the story says. I think it's in the Independent. It says Germany's government has banned a Muslim group, accusing it of violating basic human rights. It has also raided premises connected with two other Muslim groups. The country's interior ministry said Muslim interrogative represented a threat to the country's constitutional order by promoting anti-Semitism and discrimination against women and sexual minorities. Now, as far as I know, all of those things in the UK are illegal. Okay? They are illegal. Anti-Semitism is certainly illegal. Misogyny probably isn't illegal. But bigotry against sexual minorities, as far as I know, is illegal. And the German government is using existing laws. So this is something the British government could do tomorrow. They could go after these Islamist groups, the Muslim Brotherhood affiliates, the Jamaat-e-Islami affiliates. They could go after those groups, and anywhere that they are breaking British law, they could be prosecuted. So then it goes on. It said it promoted Islam as the sole model for the social order and wanted Islamic law to take precedence over German law in the Muslim community. Now, remember this, the Henry Jackson poll, and again, the way it was framed, I don't know why they didn't make more of this, but there was a question asked in that Henry Jackson poll in 2024, I think it was 2024. And the question was this: how many people in the whole poll, this was Muslims being polled, how many people strongly oppose Sharia law in the UK? It was only 25% of Muslims polled said they strongly opposed Sharia law in the UK. And poll after poll after poll have seen there's a massive, massive appetite among British Muslims for Sharia law in the UK to stop people saying things against Muhammad, the paedophile, raping, murdering, stealing, lying, psychotic founder of their religion. Like, if they had the way, I wouldn't be able to say that. Okay. So anyway, I'll go on with the story. It said it promoted Islam as the sole model for the social order and wanted Islamic law to take precedent over German law in the Muslim community. That included in areas such as the treatment of women. And then they want to say, we will respond with the full force of the law to anyone who aggressively calls for a caliphate on our streets, incites hatred against the state of Israel and Jews in an intolerable manner, and despises the rights of women and minorities. That's what German Interior Minister Alexander Dorint said. Now, that is, to me, that is absolutely incredible that they've done this. Let me know in the comments what you think, guys. Let me know in the comments what you think about that. Yep, they're not here to take part. They're here to take over and cook us some really good curry. So what else have we got? Let's have a look. But I thought that story from the Independent was very, I mean, let's get it right. The Independent, as far as I know, is owned by Saudi Arabia. I want to play you this video, right? Now, this video, this is from the TUC, right? And it is completely untrue. It is a complete and utter pack of lies. And this is what the TUC were putting out. I think it came out yesterday. Okay, just wait to hear this.
Which one of us is more English?
If you ask Tommy Robinson, I'm English, he's not.
But both of our parents were born abroad,
My parents were born in Ireland,
and my parents were born in Pakistan,
but we were both born here.
which means we're both English.
So why is Tommy Robinson trying to tell me that he's my enemy?
When we both work together at Vauxhall, and we're brothers.
Don't let hate divide us.
That, guys, is an absolute disgusting, scurrilous pack of lies. Now, people can say all sorts of things about me, about all of us in the chat here, about Tommy, but I can absolutely guarantee you that is not what Tommy believes. Now, I know people who do believe that, you know, to be English, you have to be, you know, be able to trace your lineage back. And it's basically about being white English. I know people that do believe that. Tommy doesn't. Tommy's been very, very clear that he says if you came here and you've settled here and when you're born here and you've integrated into the culture and the society, whatever your skin color, you're English. And he cites English football players and lads that he grew up with that support England. He says they're just as English as you and I. And I would agree with Tommy. You know, that's where I'm at on this. Now, again, I know there's people don't agree with me on that. And it's not, to be honest with you, it's not a thing that I want to get too bent out of shape over. If people don't agree with that, that's up to them. I don't think it's racist not to agree with that. I get what people are saying when they're saying, you know, to be properly English, you've got to be able to trace your lineage back and your genealogy back to be an Anglo-Saxon. I get that, but to me, nationality, excuse me, is about whether you love the country. I mean, again, but I mean, I've lived in Northern Ireland since what? Since 1987. I still class myself as an Englishman. Okay, I don't say I'm an Ulsterman. I'm an Englishman. But my son, who is half English, okay, was born in Northern Ireland. So, and he's a proud Ulsterman. As my daughter's a proud Ulster woman, and my grandchildren will be the same. So, genetically, they're English, but by birth, they're not English. They're part English, right? I think 3/4 English, something like that. So genetically, they are English, part English by birth, but culturally, they are Ulster men and Ulster women, right? So that's where I'm at on it. I'm a proud Englishman. My ancestors' blood is in the soil of England. And yes, I think that creates a strong bond. But look at some of these lefties. There's a whole lot of lefties that don't care about that. They hate England. So that Pakistani guy probably is more English than a lot of the lefties that go on these Hamas marches. If he's a proud Englishman, he's a patriot, then fair enough. I don't know anything about him. But the point is, Tommy Robinson has never said that. He has never said it's about tracing your ancestry back. Other very prominent people have said that. And I don't think they're being racist when they are saying that. But Tommy is not a hater. And this is what really, really annoys me about this. And that's been put out by the Trade Union Council. That guy with the baseball cap back to front, he doesn't seem the sharpest tool in the box, does he? He's not playing with a full deck. And his mate, good. I'm glad they're brothers. I'm glad they get on well together. As I do with a lot of my Pakistani Christian brothers and sisters that are actually genuine Christians that are part of the kingdom, So I'm not interested in the skin color stuff. They're the ones that are dividing us. They're the ones that are trying to split us up. Absolutely reprehensible. But again, they're losing the ideas battle. But this is where it's really important. And I keep going back to it. We need a political solution. It's all right having these small wins, but we need to recapture the culture because those scumbags that are running the show, and listen, the scumbags that are running the show are not Pakistani Muslims. They're not. The scumbags that are running the show are not jihadists. The scumbags that are running the show are the Fabian, communist, leftist, Britain-hating, globalist, communist scumbags that should be in prison, in my opinion, for treason, right? They're the ones that are running the show. They're the ones, the Starmers, the Yvette Coopers, the whole stinking lot of them, Shabana Mahmoods, the Sadiq Khans, the left Islamic Alliance. They're the ones that are running the show, and the ones that have sold out to Qatar. They've sold their birthright for a Qatari bought Bentley or whatever, right? They're the ones that are the problem. The globalists, the communists, and the Islamists, like we always say. My answer, right? My name is an Irish song. Delaney had a donkey. Brilliant, brilliant. Oh, love it. They are scumbags at the worst. They don't even turn up last night. Exactly. The Labour Party. No, I don't agree with that. I think you're part of the problem there, mate. If anyone knows me, there's a zero tolerance on anti-Semitism. Okay. It's they're so touchy. Yeah, exactly. If the lefties don't like it, leave. Go and live in Venezuela. Go and live in North Korea. Go and live wherever. Well, absolutely, that's a problem. It is indeed. Absolutely, there's a lot of secret groups and scheming and stuff going on. Well, the carnage isn't. If the thing is right, here's the thing, Lily. If we stick to the plan, and the plan that we've got is spiritual revival, cultural revival, and a political party that can win an election. All those pieces of the jigsaw are in place, right? We've got Advance UK, we've got the cultural movement, we've got a spiritual movement that's growing. If we push into all of those things with all our might, we don't have to worry about all the other stuff that's going on. It's just noise. And I know, obviously, we've got massive problems with immigration. If we get the right government, it will get sorted out. If we get the right policies, it will get sorted out. And that's what we've got to do. We've got to stick with the program. That does not have to be carnage. Last night proved that. Last night proved that the British sense of humour, our very, very brave Jewish friends that came last night, and it was brave for those because they didn't know what they were walking into. Be honest with you, they didn't know what was going to happen last night. None of us did. Yeah, we need to put our frustration into action and political action. So here's the thing, guys. Everybody and anybody that watches my channel, they go, "Flip's sake, Richard, you're like a broken record. You just keep saying the same things over and over again." Yeah, thanks for that, Craig. All good, mate. Thanks very much for that. Really appreciate that. Great stuff. Joined Advance yesterday. We've got to keep pushing Advance. If you're a member of Advance, you've got to keep pushing it. Tell your friends to join. Tell your family to join. Friday night, when we do it. By the way, tonight is Friday, isn't it? Tonight, 7 o'clock, Marine Court Hotel. I think we might be getting food tonight. I don't know. If we're not gonna get food tonight, it'll be next week. We are gonna do food because I went up to Chimney Corner last Saturday, and the guys were there. They had a little barbecue thing going, and tea and coffee, and fizzy drinks, all the stuff that you're not meant to eat. And we had a great breakfast, even though it was 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It's a Saturday, so you're allowed to have breakfast a bit late. Bacon butties, sausage butties, absolutely fantastic. So that's what we had at Chimney Corner last Saturday. So we're going to have to do that on the Friday night at some point. I don't know if it's going to happen tonight, but come down just in case. There should definitely be tea and coffee down there tonight. And if that's not there, I don't want to be done for false advertising because I'm not in charge of catering. But just come down on the Friday. It's good crack. It's we're just like a family. We don't always get on, but we're always there. so yeah, come down, guys. Friday night, 7 o'clock. Let's keep pushing that. But no, we keep doing the demos. We keep building a community. We keep building all the things that we talked about. We make ourselves physically strong. We look after each other, and then come the next election, we win. Because there's another news article somewhere. Let me just try and find this news article about reform. Bear with me. Let me see if it's here. If I can find it. Can't find it. We'll maybe just get it later. No, there was basically a news article somewhere in one of the papers about reform maybe having some issues, and it might be a situation where reform are not going to be able to do what's needed. And of course, we know that because we've been telling people that for ages, Right, let's have a look at. Let's go back to Twitter. Get rid of these union numpties that are saying how much they love each other. Probably don't even speak to each other at the best of times. Anyway, oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here's we've got to give both sides of the story. Let's listen to what
Shaquille today.
So my message here is directly to the barbaric Israeli establishment. If they think that they can come to our city without any repercussions, you can see what's happening right now. We will voice our concerns and use our democratic right to protest. But what is even more disgusting is Prime Minister Keir Starmer and his minion, Shabana Mahmood, who's the Home Secretary. They should be ashamed of themselves. The fact that West Midlands Police made the decision to ban the fans from coming to our city in Aston was one on intelligence. They didn't ban because Muslims asked them not to allow them to come. They banned because there was direct intelligence that these people are a bunch of hooligans and more importantly, a bunch of fascists. Keir Starmer and Shabana Mahmood should hang their head in shame that they have thrown their community into disrepute. Schools closed today at 2 o'clock. They are directly responsible for young innocent children losing 1 hour of school because of right-wing extremists who are coming to our city.
I saw a little bit of provocation earlier on. By and large, it's been a peaceful protest, right? That's not what GB News wants or Talk TV.
Of course, by and large, it has been a peaceful protest. And unfortunately, we don't just have the West Midlands Police here. We have the Metropolitan Police. So we will, in our post-mortem of this protest, be asking why a gentleman with the Israeli flag was allowed so close to our protest. If that is not provocation, what is it?
It looks like Maccabi Tel Aviv have got in, right? I mean, do you think that it's a shame that, all right, the fans have been banned, this team should have been banned as well, right?
Absolutely. It is a disgusting shame that we are banning Russian fans and Russian teams because of Russian aggression. Why are we not banning Israeli fans, Israeli teams because of Israeli aggression?
And what do you think about the mainstream media and GB News?
Well, there you go. I mean, we've given both sides of the story. Basically, what he's saying there was completely untrue. The person with the Israeli flag was a woman. There was a woman with an Israeli flag that got near one of their demos. And the reality is that they were the aggressors. They were the ones that caused all the problems. And I think we really need to look at what's happened with the policing in Birmingham, because it is still a disgrace. What happened in Holland? The dogs in the street know that those Maccabi fans in Holland were attacked, an unprovoked attack that was coordinated before they even got anywhere near the ground. And by the way, this media group, 5 Pillars, they are Islamists quite openly. Go and look at their content, how they are allowed to carry on and do what they do. And here's another question I want to ask, and this is where I am getting extremely annoyed with GB News and Talk TV. They have given these scumbags, who are fascists, who are anti-Semites, who are completely sectarian, supremacist Muslims, they have given these scumbags a platform for weeks. And yet, Ben Habib, who is an absolute gentleman and has very, very sensible ideas about how to run the country and how to return the country to normal and how to make Britain great again, is pretty much cancelled. As far as we can see, he's cancelled from GB News and Talk TV. And again, this is what we need to do. This is where we can do something about this. I want every single person in the chat to write to GB News, email them, email GB News, email Talk TV, and ask them why Ben Habib is banned from the platform, and then send them a separate email asking them why Tommy Robinson is banned from the platform, when they're having these scumbags, these sectarian scumbags who can only put 200 or 300 people on the street. They've been planning this massive demo for weeks, right? For weeks, and they managed to get 200 people down there. When Tommy got arrested for the phone. In fact, no, he just got whenever it happened. We knew he'd been arrested on counterterrorism, but by the counterterrorist branch, right? when that happened to Tommy at Folkestone, we heard about it, I think 10 o'clock in the morning or whenever it was. No, it was lunchtime. It was about lunchtime. And within 3 hours, we had 400 or 500 people on the street outside Downing Street. Just like that. And we had a great demo. And we said to the police, we're not going until Tommy gets released. And we stayed there till about 10 o'clock at night. And then Tommy was released. I'm not saying that's when he got released, but the police didn't know what to do with us because I said to them, I says, look, you know, unless Tommy gets out, I says, this is going to grow and grow and grow. Now, whether that was, I mean, you know, normally they don't hold you that long on these things anyway, but he did get charged. So they could have tried to remand him. So, and again, that was another massive win, wasn't it? Was that this week? Was that beginning of the week? I think it was beginning of the week. So Tommy actually getting not guilty, because if Tommy had been found guilty, believe you me, the mainstream media, every time they talked about Tommy Robinson, they'd have been saying convicted terrorist Tommy Robinson, or Tommy Robinson who was convicted, you know, under terrorism offences. That's what they would have said every single second of every day. There we go. This guy's good. Listen to what this guy's got to say.
On earlier regarding the event, just a very, very quick video, something that really made me chuckle. So I put a video on earlier regarding the events in Birmingham around the Aston Villa football match tonight, and specifically about a man called Ahmed Yaqub, who is a alleged lawyer and community relations person in the Islamic community from the Midlands, who put videos on over the course of the last couple of weeks trying to rouse as many people as he could get to come and protest at the Maccabi Tel Aviv team playing in the UK, and who effectively caused the Israeli fans to be banned. And in one of these videos he talked about hundreds of thousands of people being on the streets of Birmingham. Even over the course of the last sort of 2 or 3 days, he's been talking about very large numbers. As it turns out, there's about 300 of them.
I thought that was great. I really thought that was, you know, yeah, 200 or 300. But look at how much that's cost the state. look at the diplomatic cost of that. So even though last night was a win in a way, was a win in a way, it was also a defeat, because not because they managed to mobilize tens of thousands of people, because they didn't, they failed dismally, but because the state failed dismally as well to basically stand up to that. I'm going to play one more video here. Now, I haven't actually listened to this yet, but by the headline, I've got a good idea what they're going to say.
In quite
so just
significant
bear with me. So what this is the West Midlands Police. Shame on the West Midlands Police. And it's not the first time that they should hang their heads in shame. The Birmingham pub bombings being a prime example, right? That still there is no, even though, again, the dogs in the street know who really planted those bombs, there's still nobody been held to account. And think about Julie and her campaign, her long-running campaign. And she, when we were doing the football lads and the vets, we stood with Julie on many occasions, and I'm so sad that they have not got the justice that they so long longed for. But again, West Midlands Police messing up. But let's have a little listen to what this guy's got to say, because what these guys are doing are deflecting. They have messed up. The West Midlands Police have messed up. They need to hang their heads in shame. Let's listen to this numpty.
There is a section of Maccabi fans, not all Maccabi fans, but a section of them who engage in quite significant levels of hooliganism.
There's a lack of clarity. Maccabi Tel Aviv told us they're not too sure why their fans were banned. Why were their fans banned? Was it the threat to them or the threat by their fans?
Yeah, so I'm aware there's a lot of commentary around the threat to the fans being the reason for the decision. To be clear, that was not the primary driver. That was a consideration. We have...
That man's a liar. I think it's as simple as that. That man is a liar, and he's the one that's been rolled out to spin this yarn. That is spin doctrine. That's Alistair Campbell, who's responsible for the goodness knows the Iraq War, or certainly, you know, the spin doctrining around the Iraq War. And British soldiers been killed. Thousands of innocent Iraqis been killed. This guy is absolutely, completely. I can't believe what I'm hearing, to be honest with you.
Intelligence and information that says that there is a section of Maccabi fans, not all Maccabi fans, but a section of them who engage in quite significant levels of hooliganism.
You see, it's very clever the way he said that, because he can say, well, I'm not lying, because that's true. Every single football team throughout the world almost has a section who will be violent. That is not why this thing was banned. And he knows it, and his bosses know it, and they're just lying through their teeth about it. It's an absolute disgrace, an absolute despicable disgrace, and shameful that he's wearing a poppy. Oh, traitor. These people are absolute traitors. Absolutely disgusting, absolutely despicable.
What is probably quite unique in these circumstances is whereas often hooligans will clash with other hooligans and it will be contained within the football fan base. We've had examples where a section of Maccabi fans were targeting people not involved in football matches, and certainly we had an incident in Amsterdam last year which has informed some of our decision making. So
again, what that man is saying about Amsterdam. Now, we saw what happened in Amsterdam last year. We watched it, right? We watched it where there was Moroccans that were literally on a Jew hunt. And there's WhatsApp messages that back up that they were there to hunt down and attack Jewish people, right? Let's get it right. These wannabe jihadists in Birmingham, they were planning on doing exactly the same thing. That's exactly what they were planning on doing. And this officer, to me, is a disgrace to the uniform. And the fact that he can stand there with a straight face and come out with that sort of garbage is absolutely disgusting. Maccabi banned the Maccabi fans and put the Jewish supporters who were there. Yes, exactly. Yeah, and exactly. And people were chanting death, death to the IDF. I wonder, is anyone going to be charged over that? These people are cowards. Men like him are part of the problem. He's more interested in his pension than he is in policing. He's more interested in pension than he is in patriotism. Absolutely despicable. How dare he wear a poppy?
it is exclusively a decision we made on the basis of the behaviour of a subsection of Maccabi fans, but all the reaction that could occur obviously form part of that as well. There are football clubs that have a significant group of fans, ultras if you like. The difference here, I guess, is that they didn't just confine it to other football fans. In the past, there have been clashes that have gone beyond that, and clearly, as you've alluded to, the sensitivities around the Middle East mean that the potential for that to kind of exacerbate current tensions is...
What he hasn't got the guts to say, because the West Midlands Police, if I ever go to West Midlands, they're going to arrest me, aren't they? But the West Midlands Police are, and I'm on about the command structure, right? That's probably a good, that should be a screenshot of that guy right there. You know, that's the face of a guy who knows his line, right? The West Midlands Police should be absolutely ashamed of themselves. And the command structure of the West Midlands Police, we've seen, and these are the guys, yeah, I think it's the ones up in Manchester as well, you know, when they go and meet the local elders, they greet them, Salam alaikum. Really? Speak in English. If you come here and you want to meet the police, you speak to the police in English. And the British police force should not be going Salam alaikum to a whole lot of jihadi Johns, right? Just shouldn't be happening. Sorry, guys, to say the least, I'm a little bit wound up listening to this because I haven't heard this before.
So much that we felt this was the most sensible way of managing the risk.
Maccabi Tel Aviv are very concerned. They think their fans are being unfairly maligned. They were attacked in what have been called anti-Semitic attacks in Amsterdam last year. The only convictions in Amsterdam were for attacks by locals on their fans. But you formed a very different conclusion. Is that from the Dutch police?
We are absolutely not saying that in Amsterdam that the only fans causing trouble were the Maccabi fans, but what we were very clearly told is that they played a part in causing trouble, particularly a day before the match. That absolutely resulted in the following day there being attacks on Maccabi fans, so it wasn't all one way. But that's the whole point, really, so that kind of escalating tensions, the escalating violence as a consequence, is what we were trying to prevent here in Birmingham.
We've seen Zionists not welcome signs. Are they acceptable?
Our understanding is that they don't quite contravene hate crime, whether they're acceptable is a matter of judgment.
You know, I just, what do you, I literally don't know what you do with that. There's one of the Chuckle brothers, not even going to listen to him anymore, because that's just, that last thing's really annoying me. And there's the local MP. There's the local MP. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. There's the lads. And they're just normal lads. They are just normal lads from Aston Villa. And I'm sure, you know, I'm sure those. And the sad thing about all this is that that Aston Villa was a Christian club. It was, you know, it's on Trinity Road. It was raised up as a Christian football club. Anyway, guys, look, that's 8 o'clock. I suppose we'll leave it there. Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the comments what you thought of all that. Did you enjoy? Tell me this. Are you guys enjoying this little format we're doing? It's killing me getting out of bed that early. But is it working for you guys? Let me know in the comments if you like what I'm doing. Because to me, what it's about is about encouraging people and encouraging us all and keeping in mind what we have to do and how we can move our country forwards. And if look, there's 680 people watching this at sort of between 7 and 8 every morning. And yeah. Okay, guys. Well, listen, I'm going to shoot. Yep. Thanks for that, Lily. Thanks for that, Bobby. Yes, it's great for me as I live in Thailand. See you in the middle of the afternoon. Clive, Richard, love the breakfast show. Yeah, enjoying the morning meeting. It's a bit early for me as well. Believe you me, Kelly, it's a bit early for me. Christ is King. Brilliant. I don't know what I don't. All right, okay, that's somebody speaking. Thanks for the live, Richard. See you Tuesday night. All being well. Great morning show. First one I've seen live. What's happening Tuesday night? When somebody says see you Tuesday night, I'm going, have I got something that I've agreed to on Tuesday night? So I probably need somebody to tell me what I'm doing on Tuesday night because I ain't got a clue. But am I doing a live stream or something? I don't know. Yes, it's great to start the day. Do you know what? Actually, I'm thinking about doing that. Now, if I did half an hour later on Wednesday and Thursday, because I do the school run with the grandkids, I'd have to finish at 8 o'clock. But I might do that. I might do 7:30. Let me know in the comments if you think 7:30's better. I was thinking 7 o'clock because it gets people so they've got an hour before they go to work when we can all get together. And I'm going to look at this prevent thing guys again as well, because that's a big story that broke yesterday. We didn't even get a chance to look at it. Tuesday, what's that? Tuesday, 6:30 on Advanced UK with Ben College. Take Tuesday 6:30 to 8. Okay, all right, okay. Oh, listen, sorry, before I go, tomorrow at 12 o'clock, 12 noon, I'm doing an interview with Ben about advancing Northern Ireland. Okay, so it's going to be a big interview. 12 o'clock tomorrow, Ben Habib, and yeah, that's tomorrow. Right, guys, I am going to go. Great seeing you all. I've got to go and make breakfast for my dear wife. So 7:30 is good, but whatever is best for you. Thanks for that, Claire. Appreciate that. I mean, 7:30. Do you know what I might do? I might do 7:30 on the days that I'm not doing the school run, and then do 7 o'clock on the ones I'm doing the school run, so we can do the full hour. I'll think about it. We'll work something out, guys. It's been absolutely fantastic. Hope you enjoyed it. Little win yesterday, just a little win, but we know what the plan is. We know what we've got to do, and I will see you all soon. God bless.